Auran Shereef Show, Episode 1, audio only. We're starting the show where I just do audio only and I think about thoughts and whatever I'm thinking about. Today is August 12th. I just want to give you guys an update. I am in the middle of relaunching my tech company Connects with my partner, Jeffrey Chung. I think it's going to go great. I'm also in the middle of filming my Netflix documentary. It's like a TV show called Auran Never Give Up, which is going to be green-lighted to do a Hollywood movie with Scarlett Johansson, Harrison Ford, and Morgan Freeman. Those are the actors that we want in the movie, and that we're still in the middle of production for that. So this is a great time to talk about your dreams and not to give up on your dreams and to keep dreaming. And this is a great time to do that because I'm in the middle of doing my dreams. So this talk is going to be around, what to do when you feel scared, when you feel alone, when you want to go after that one big thing that you've been thinking about, but nobody is helping you. So I was just listening to some motivation, believe it or not, with Will Smith, same guy who slapped Chris Rock. But he was just talking about, going after your dreams is a very lonely path. People aren't going to support you. Nobody really believes in your dream other than yourself. And I agree with him. I've done this before many times, and it is a very lonely journey to get there, but it's very rewarding to chase after and go after your dreams, because if you don't go after your dreams, what are you doing every day? Just existing? You're just going through the motions, working at that job, wishing you could leave and do what you really want to do with your life. But it takes courage. It takes fearlessness. Hopefully I said that right. And it takes unrelenting pursuit of your dreams. You have to be obsessed with what you want to do. So yeah, I would say that used to be me in my 20s when I was attempting to get Connects off the ground. But after what happened with my mom and all this stuff, she passed away of a heart attack. I kind of gave up on my dreams and I gave up on myself, and I could feel the shift in my body. It was, I was broken in every way you could imagine, financially, spiritually, emotionally. However, I remember the training I had with Bob Proctor, one of my first or second mentors, and he kept reminding me, you're going to be tested in these times. It's going to be tough. And, you have to keep going. You can't give up on what you really want to do. So hopefully this Auran Shereef Show podcast where I give you my thoughts and stuff like that is going to be helpful. But that's the big thing I want to talk about is don't give up on your dreams. Keep going and listen to my voice. If you guys like my voice, don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel. I'll keep doing more of this, but this a motivation talk should be about, what did I go through and how come I didn't give up? I actually kind of gave up on my dreams, but the only real way you give up is if you stop trying. So I never stopped trying. I just took a break. I pivoted, after my Connects launch didn't go the way I really wanted it to go. I made a lot of failures. I didn't give up. I just stopped. And then I did something else. I did a consulting company. I launched a real estate company that became very successful. And now I'm in the middle of launching a media company. So I never really give up. I just kind of shift to the next thing. And that's something I recommend you guys do. If you're in the middle of transitioning jobs or you want to start that business, I say just go for it. I used to talk to Bob Proctor every day on the phone, the legendary millionaire Bob Proctor, who used to be a janitor, and then he became a multi-millionaire famous speaker. All he did was write down his goal on a card that he carried with him. It's called a goal card. And I made a video about goal cards. If you search my channel, Auran Shereef Goal Cards, I explain this technique where you essentially write out your goal and your dream in real time in present tense as if you've already accomplished it. So you'll say, I am so happy and grateful now that, and you write your dream out. So I say, I'm so happy and grateful now that I'm one of the most influential, successful entrepreneurs in the world. I run and operate Connects, the largest tech company in the world. I earned a certain amount of money, and then I say by the date, December 31st, 2025, something like that. You have to write a date down, and you're usually guessing at the date, because if you don't if you don't have a date down with your goal, it's just a dream. You don't actually turn it into reality. So you got to write down approximate time and when you want to accomplish your goal. But that goal card activity technique is really powerful, and that's what I use to achieve all my goals. And I use Earl Nightingale's time management strategy, where you write down 6 goal-achieving activities the night before you go to sleep. And then the next day when you wake up, you just start moving into action. So that entire goal-achieving activity is also in my YouTube channel if you just search Auran Shereef Goals. And then I also published that in my first book, Auran Shereef Guide to Success. I think we called it Connects Guide to Success. I published 7 books. And it's funny, I published all 7 books in the same year, actually. It was the same year that I was being coached by Bob Proctor. It's funny how when you have a successful mentor helping you, suddenly all your goals and dreams you want, become reality. Well, you still got to work on them, but yeah, you get there much faster. So, I'm partnering up with someone to get my connects back out there. It's definitely going to be successful if you pick the right partner. It's just like if you wanted to do really good in real estate, you find a successful real estate developer that's made millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars, and then you work with them. It's very likely you'll learn exactly what they're doing and become successful like them. So one of the trick, everybody, to become rich or successful is just simply work with the people who are doing that. And that's something I did. You have to remember, I was like everybody else, worked at regular jobs. My first job was $5 an hour. And I have that published on my YouTube channel where I say I went from $5 an hour being completely broke, to eventually making large sums of money. And what was the steps I did that? The first thing is I desired that in my mind. I really, really wanted it. And the second thing is I manifested Bob Proctor into helping me get there. I mean, I had to pay him $15,000 to coach me. And I took a lien on my 2006 Infiniti G35, which got repossessed eventually. But funny, now I have 10 cars because I started a car rental company. So in hindsight, that car really didn't matter. What mattered is the knowledge that I got from Bob Proctor and what I learned from him that I kept with me for the rest of my life. And I utilize every single day in my daily life. His teachings and his mentorship made such a large impact in me that I am who I am because of what happened. I was personally coached by Bob at his house in Toronto and at multiple seminars. These mentorship and teachings I learned from him and the education I received beat my mechanical engineering education, like hands down. It beat it in tremendous ways. Bob taught me so many things I never learned in college. I mean, I learned in college social skills, statistics, dynamics, chemistry, thermodynamics, all the courses you take to become an engineer. If there's any engineers out there, you know what I'm talking about regarding calculus 1, 2, 3, differential equations. It's important to have that knowledge if you have a career in engineering, you want to build it out. And just a side note, I'm very happy I completed my engineering degree. A lot of people say don't go to college, don't go to school. It depends on your career. If you're becoming a doctor, surgeon, or engineering, go for the degree. There's nothing wrong with getting a college degree. I'm very happy I got it. You also have to remember I wasn't born in this country. I was born in a different country. I was born in Pakistan. And then my family immigrated here in the 90s. So I'm lucky I'm even in America. So getting a great degree and a high paying job is literally the American dream for any immigrant. So I achieved that dream when I was 24. I got my degree, I got a high paying job, and I did it. However, I wanted more, much more. And that Bob taught me that. He said, you should never be satisfied with what you got. You should always want to desire more, you know? And I think he would reference his grandmother or something. And his grandmother would always say, should be happy for what you have. You know, you should be happy for what you got. You know, don't try to do all this stuff and make more money, etc. And Bob would say very famously in his seminars, his grandmother was dead wrong. You never be happy, you know, for what you have. You should be satisfied, you know, like I have something, but you should desire more in your life. And I agree with that. So I was happy I had my job, but I wanted more. You know, everybody always wants more. They want more money, want more success, want more relationships. So, you know, that burning desire I had inside really compelled me to achieve what I wanted to achieve. So that's what I would say to you guys. Don't give up on your dreams. Surround yourself with the right mentors. And if you cannot find a mentor and you can't find anybody to help you, reach out to me, Auran Shereef. I'll help you. My team will help you. You know, when I was in my 20s, somebody helped me. Bob Proctor helped me. I mean, I paid him a lot of money, but he helped me. He helped me get exactly what I wanted. And he said that on the phone with me. And if you go back and you listen to my phone call that I had with him, you know, when I was 26, I had that phone call recorded, actually. I knew that was one of the most significant moments in my life. I probably should record this. And I released it publicly on YouTube. Anybody in the world can watch it forever. The single moment that pretty much changed my life. You know, he said it to me on the phone, you know, that you need somebody to help you, to guide you. You know, otherwise you're going to struggle your whole life. You'll never get to reach your dreams ever. And he was right. I was struggling. For 26 years, I was struggling emotionally, financially, spiritually. And then when I met him, everything changed. Flew to Toronto. I spent 6 days with him in this program called The Matrix. If anybody has been to that Matrix program, they know what I'm talking about. I think it was only about 30 or 50 people there, but it was such a powerful program. I've never been the same since that day. It's like Bob, like he says famously on our call, took my head off, shook it all around, and put it back on correctly. And I agree with that. All the information and stuff I had leading up to meeting him was, I would say, partially incorrect. You know, the things that I learned from the world and the existing matrix that programs you. And Bob basically reprogrammed me to say, this isn't the right way of thinking. Think on my level. This is how you think to be successful. This is how successful people think. You think in frequencies. You use vibration and intuition. You manifest your dreams. All of this sounded a little ridiculous at first. But after I met people who had their dreams, they had their mansions, their cars, their Ferraris, their Lamborghinis, I said, I want a Ferrari. I want a Lamborghini. I want a nice house. Eventually, I had these cars later on when I was living in Miami. You know, these are just, you know, that actually was not that important to me, having very nice cars. It was actually the relationships I was building with people and moving up ranks and levels in life. You know, there's levels to success. There's people who are ultra wealthy, like 0.001% of the world, who actually control most of the money. The top 10 men in the world have more money than the entire bottom half of the world. You know, it's concentrated at the top. There's actually, believe it or not, there's plenty of room at the top The top is not a large space of people there. It's a very small group of people, but the bottom is the one that's overcrowded. Everyone is looking for a job. Everyone's competing and fighting for a regular salary, $70,000, $80,000 salary job here in America. Everybody's fighting for that, you know. And my recommendation is, I think having a good stable job is actually the foundation of becoming successful. You can't just skip the whole thing and think you're going to make $1 million in your first year of existence. You have to put in the time, the work, the energy. My first job was $5 an hour. I think it was $5.25 an hour making bagels at Manhattan Bagel in Rockville Pike in Maryland. And then they switched the name to Itzy's Bagel because I believe the owner, Lee, bought out the franchise, or he started his own bagel shop. And there you go. I had my first exposure to a business owner entrepreneur when I was 16. Used to go to school every day, Walter Johnson High School. And then on the weekends, instead of going out or hang out with friends, I would work from 6 a.m. until the store closed at, I don't know, it was 5 o'clock or something like that. I mean, I think I just did my shift, and the second shift people would go there. But, I was working nonstop early on. You have to remember, I was a poor immigrant, moved here to this country. My family had nothing. We had nothing. My parents left Pakistan in hopes for the dream for their children to have a good life in America. And, they did their part by bringing us to this country, but I had to pick up my part by, achieving what they wanted for me, which was to get a good job and a degree, which I did. But again, I wanted more. And if anyone out here is listening that is also similar, that's an immigrant that was born in a different country and came to this country, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Your parents just want you to get a good degree and a job. Going after your dreams and making $1 million, that's out of the question. Your parents, if you come from a different country, you just want to be able to survive. It's coming from a third world country back in the day to America was like already in itself a huge dream. Many people strive for that. Many people now, if you're listening to me in a different country and your dream is to come to the United States and quote unquote get a great job and live this great life, get rich, by all means go for it. Find a way to get into the country and legally and go after your dreams. Well, that's what we did. And it was one of the best decisions my parents made. I didn't make the decision to come to America. I was probably 2 months old, 3, maybe a year old. And it was ultimately my parents' decision. We want to come to this country and make this happen. So it was a very powerful decision they made. So I come from a long line of entrepreneurs and business people in my extended family. So both my mom and dad were entrepreneurs and entrepreneurial in the beginning. My dad was a big business owner and loved to run online businesses, etc. My mom just was so skilled at sales and marketing. She was used to be the manager at the Best Western Clarion Inn in College Park, next to the University of Maryland. I remember she would be doing her sales calls on the phone, and I would be sitting in her office listening to her sell room packages for the hotel. And I was learning from her. She was so good at sales. I think I learned originally sales and marketing from my mom. And then later I learned it from Bob Proctor and Ty Lopez, who's very, very good at sales and marketing. I think he mentions in ChatGPT, if you Google the best online sales person or ads, it's Ty Lopez and a few other people too. But I learned sales and marketing from her, and I learned like strength, entrepreneurship, like software and real estate from my dad. And you combine both those things and you get me. And then, your DNA is 50% from your mom, 50% from your dad. So I guess it was just a perfect combination. Unfortunately, I also inherited heart disease from both sides of my family, which sucks. My mom's side of my family has heart disease, and my dad's side of the family has heart disease. So guess what happened to me? Heart disease. Okay. But I don't let that stop me. Yes, I had a heart attack 2 years ago. It was terrible. I almost died. But I use that as fuel to, fulfill my dreams, my desires. I still go after my dreams. I have nothing to lose. I've already survived and cheated death twice. I had a horrible motorcycle accident at 26 where I almost died. And it's going to be in the movie and TV series. And then I survived a heart attack. I've already beaten the odds 2 times now. So, if you haven't gone through these things like me, you can still use your own, experiences of the desire of wanting to do more. But I had a very compelling desire to do even more because I have nothing to lose. I've been to the edge and back twice. So now that I'm here the third time, I don't plan to die again. I plan to go for it. Everything I've ever wanted, I'm just going to go for it. I don't care anymore. Want to become a famous Hollywood movie star? I'll go for it. I don't care. I want to build Connects into the largest tech company and make it bigger than Google or Facebook, etc., or work with them. I'll do it. That's how I think. I think on a high level. This is a great book I highly recommend. The Magic of Thinking Big, I think is by David Schwartz. It's a really good book because he tells you, what's the difference between small thinking and big thinking. It's really just the decision. Do you want to think big or do you want to keep thinking small and play small? And it's a problem with most people in life. They think too small. You're just thinking too small. You have to think bigger thoughts. Think bigger things that you want to do and you'll achieve bigger stuff. What's that saying? Shoot for the stars, hit the moon or something like that. So, that's how I think. I think on a very high level. I used to think small and just think I want to do that, just want to get this job and that's it. But like I said, after meeting Bob Proctor, everything changed. I wanted to think on a bigger level. He thinks on a big level, so he transferred that to me. That's the importance of having a mentor, someone to help you, to guide you, to get you to where you want to go. So again, to recap, to achieve your dreams, you need a burning desire backed by faith, which is in the book Think and Grow Rich. You need a powerful group of mentors or people to support you. And then the third thing is you need persistence. You need unrelenting obsession and persistence of your dream and goal, of your object of desire. And you cannot and not let anybody, interrupt that in your mind. If you let people into your head and distract you from what you want to do, like let's say your parents, your mom or dad is really not a good parent, and every day they're telling you, don't do this, don't do that, don't go after your dreams. Just don't listen to them or try to get away from them. And a lot of times you have to rely on your friends. Sometimes your friends become your family because that's just how it is. So, you don't get to choose your parents. Those are the cards that you were dealt with. If your mom or dad was alcoholic or abusive, that's what you got. If you had two perfect parents that were rich and successful, there you go. You got born into that. So everybody's born with a set of cards. I think it was like Jamie Dimon or some banker that was saying like, I was born with this set of cards. My parents had this. So if you were unfortunate, you didn't have the right parents that could help you, I think you should look for better friends or mentors on the internet or online or through books that could help you. Technically, I say my first mentor was Napoleon Hill from Think and Grow Rich. I was listening to him every day, reading his book, The Timeless Wisdom, and also How to Win Friends and Influence People. I was reading that book. And I actually, one of my first mentors was Dr. Oliver Schlocke in school. He's a German professor. He was my entrepreneurship professor at the University of Maryland in College Park. He was a very great professor. It was nice. I'm so happy that I decided to take an entrepreneurship course in Maryland while studying engineering. And that was really helpful because he was talking about how to be an entrepreneur. It was an actual course in entrepreneurship, which I think was so much fun. You know, we built so many things in that course. One of it was this thing we called Terp Slickers, which was like a boot or something like that, like a gaiter when you go outside walking and you need to, you know, you don't want to get your feet wet, so you wear these like boots. It was a pretty interesting thing, but it's the fact that we got in the process of the ideation, creation of the product, and then marketing and selling it and talking about sales, revenue, and margins. And I think we were trying to get it into Bass Pro Shops, and he had the connections there. And we actually pitched in front of Bass Pro Shops during the class. So, you know, that's what I'm saying. You go to the right university, pick the right courses, you meet the right people. It's all about connections and who you know. You want to take a company public, you want to make $1 million, you just happen to know someone who's done that, probably you'd be able to achieve that. And you also have to understand, everybody, we're all here on the same planet trying to accomplish the same stuff. Everybody wants a good life and just be happy. There's no one in this world that wants a terrible life and just, you know, wants to not have money and I would say essentially live on the streets. Nobody wants that. Everyone wants a comfortable, happy life. So if you think about it, Bob would say this to me all the time, and he would say, you know, we're all trying to accomplish the same thing. Everybody in the world wants the same thing. They want to be happy, take care of their family, have food on the table, and be comfortable. Some people want it more than others, and some people want a lot more. But in general, we're all trying to accomplish something, you know, a comfortable life for everybody. So if you think it that way, we're all on the same team. Everybody is trying to do something. And once you start thinking it's not about me, it's about we, like together, like this is a big community of people. I've noticed this a lot in the world, which is one of the reasons why I'm building Connects, is being a community, being together, all of us working together to achieve our goals. Wouldn't it be nice if we all worked together instead of constantly competing with one another, trying to beat the other person or backstab them or, you know, to betray their trust or all this negative thing? Don't think like that. Don't think like that. That's what Bob told me. He's like, stop thinking everybody's out to get you. If you keep thinking that, people will do that to you. If you constantly think people are out to get me, then they're going to get you. You're in the wrong vibration and frequency of thinking. So don't think like that. You know, I stopped thinking like that in my 20s. I just like, okay, this isn't really getting me my results that I want. And he would say that in his phone call. He said, if you think people are out to get you, they're going to do that. And that's not a good vibration to be in. You don't want to be in a vibration of constantly thinking people are going to get you, that you mistrust everybody. That's not a comfortable feeling to live in your life. You know, you have to be a little bit more open and saying receptive and optimistic that, you know, people will help you. Great people will help you become great. I will repeat that. Great people will help you become great. It's true. Anybody incredibly successful or great, believe it or not, if you approach them and said, I really want to achieve my dream, etc., most of the time they'll say go for it or help you. If you came up to me and told me your dream, I would find ways to help you accomplish it. I wouldn't say this is a stupid dream, you know, don't do it. You're never going to, I would never say that. I don't do that anymore. It used to be like that, but if you approached me and said your dream, I would probably find a way to help you do it, or my team would help you. So reach out to me at AuranShereef.com or DM me on Instagram, LinkedIn, or find me on Connects eventually when we get this re-released. The username is my name, Auran Shereef. So yeah, you know, again, to recap, if you want to go after your dreams, you got to be in the right vibration too. So hopefully this talk was helpful and you guys found some value. And if you like this type of format where it's just audio only, you know, I have both video and audio, but Ty actually told me to do this because he has something called Ty Lopez Show where he just does audio only thoughts. It's actually quicker for me because I can do this when I wake up. I can do this when I'm driving. And since my thoughts and my voice is very important and you guys are listening carefully to what I'm saying, it's much faster for me to just do this audio type format. So if you guys like this audio format, let me know. This is episode 1 of, I would call this the Auran Shereef Show or Auran Podcast, or just like Auran's Thoughts, episode 1, etc. So we'll keep doing more of these if you guys like that. But let me know in the comments, like comment, subscribe, but please actually click the comment button and click the like button. I'll teach you something about the YouTube algorithm. Okay, and algorithms in general. You need engagement and retention. It's not just clicking like on this video or audio. You have to click the comment button and say something. It doesn't even need to be anything big. You could just do an emoji and just give me some fire or a smiley face. But if you type something like great content, do more of this, I'll do more of it. And we read it. I read all the comments, all of them, and my team reads it. So if you did actually like this, make sure you comment, and then we'll read it and we'll keep it together. And it helps improve my engagement. And if you want to actually support me and what I'm doing, it'll financially makes me more money if you comment and you engage with SEO on YouTube and Google. That's how you make money, by the views and engagement. And you get paid more. It's called pay per click. And also the views. I think YouTube pays you by views too. So thanks for viewing this and listening to me. And if you like my voice and if you like what I'm doing, comment, like, subscribe, and I'll do more of this. Hopefully you guys found this helpful. Stay tuned for more. Don't give up on your dreams.